power of this technology goes so far beyond what like the typical like table conversation about VR gives it credit for. You know, like we talk about it as like a useful tool or an immersive, fun experience, but what we're talking about is like truly transformational.
It should be perfectly possible to trick your brain into any experience if your brain can already do that itself naturally. So VR is almost like taking that ability for our brain to generate any experience for us and like putting it in our hands, which is wild.
Man, that's something in the history books. People are going to look back and be like, yeah, 2022, 2023. That's when education, after hundreds of years, finally upgraded.
We're in a strange time where our physical worlds are intersecting with our digital identities, and right now is a time to kind of determine what you want that to be.
Once you have full body tracking that works well and it's frictionless, right? Meaning it's easy to do.
Yes.
It's a whole new, it's not a game changer, it's a whole new game.
So maybe there will be some other people who would be curious to see what I'm learning, what I'm discovering, so to say. And that's how the Discover YouTube channel started.
Oh, not really disco VR, Discover.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel bad when people ask me about VR, or they're like, what do you do? Like, all right, you asked, here it comes.
I love VR, but I love going out and breathing fresh air. And not only was I stuck in VR for 10 days, I was stuck in one room because I was streaming, the same space. I didn't see the sunlight. I totally lost track of what time everything was.
She dances with the robot. She does the first steps. She dances with that robot. She takes that thing off her fist. I have the video. I'm holding it hostage. She takes it off her head and she says, I gotta have it.
There are a few moments in my life I can remember very vividly. The day I got married, the day my kids were born, the day Facebook announced that they bought Oculus is one of those days. I was making chili.
I've been in a lot of gaming communities, and the VR community is by far the best community that I've ever been involved with.
Everyone, and welcome back to the Between Realities VR podcast. It's your favorite weekly podcast that happens every single week.
Every week.
My name's Alex VR. I am one half of the Between Realities crew. The other half is sitting right here beside me. It's Skiva. Skiva.
Hey, buddy.
Good to see you again for another consecutive week of Between Realities.
It's funny how we've never missed.
I know. Well, you know, to be fair, though, until season 8, we've been good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
True that. We have been extremely consecutive,
consistent.
I got
you, baby.
Thank you. Up until this, But hey, life happens. Sometimes guests have things come up. But it doesn't matter. We're here now.
It doesn't matter. We're here, and our audience just loves us no matter what.
Do they?
I think so. Right?
They do.
Chat, please help me.
We love them. Either way, we love them.
Yeah, we do. Man, it feels so good to be back.
Heck yeah, man.
It does.
Heck yeah.
Can we just sit in this for a second and just enjoy it? Yeah, man, things are good. How's your week been?
It's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Working, had some family stuff, but everything's pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah, my kid had a birthday. She's like 10 years old now.
Oh my gosh, man.
I know. Pretty crazy.
Dude, it's like pretty crazy because, it feels like just yesterday I started hanging out with you. You know what I mean? And it's honestly like seeing your daughter get bigger that like reminds me how many years are passing.
I know.
I'm like, wait a second.
For real.
I thought she was just a little kid, man.
Yeah, life cruises by at like 1,000 miles an hour.
Indeed it does. This week, we at the house, at the crib, at the VR residence, we had some friends from out of town over who haven't been over in a really long time, and it was a perfect opportunity for me to bust out the wheel and pedals and jam on Gran Turismo.
Nice.
And, you know, like moving fast in VR is like, you know, obviously like, okay, you know, if you don't have your VR legs, it might make you uncomfortable or whatever. So I'm usually not like quick to put somebody who's like not super experienced into VR into something like Gran Turismo.
I definitely never do.
But this night I was like, you know, because the homie, like it's a married couple, and like the homie's like a thrill seeker, you know, like he's the kind of like this dude will do anything, you know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, I got to put him in the cockpit of Gran Turismo 7, and I did, and then like I take a turn, I put the headset on, and then it's the girl's turn, and I'm like, should we put him in flat or should I put him in VR? I don't want them to be uncomfortable, you know.
That's a tough one, man.
You know, my wife was like, you know what, screw it, put me in there. And like she got uncomfortable grabbing the air and pulling herself through Demio. She was like, nope. She like noped out of that right away. So I'm like, okay, here we go. And she was all right.
Wow.
Yeah. And then homegirl jumps in. She was all right. And the four of us took turns jumping into the cockpit for multiple races.
A lot of times it's like when you're going around those tight corners or when you smash into something and the car instantly stops, but your body doesn't feel anything, right? Those are the things that start to tend to make our body go, wait a minute, something's wrong.
I was a little worried, but it worked out. And we had a great night. You know what I mean?
You know, that really goes to show like the developers of Gran Turismo really put some time into making that VR port really good. You know, they took a lot of care into not allowing people to get motion sickness, at least not to the level of some of the other driving games out there.
Well, and like, let's be real, it's a VR mode. It is Gran Turismo 7. Yeah. It's not even a port. Like it's the game.
Right. But when doing those modes, you still have to like, there's a lot that goes in behind the scenes of different things that can contribute to frame rate and sickness and stuff like that, and they really nailed it. So
they really did. Yeah, it just reminded me how much I freaking love that game.
I know, it's so good.
It's so much fun.
It's so good.
It is so much fun. Well, hey everybody, thanks for joining us for the live show. You know, it's Friday. It's May 17th, 2024. And then it doesn't seem like important or relevant right now, but you know, we listen to this episode in some years and we'll be like, wow, it was 2024. So, you know, it's worth mentioning the year.
It's back when you actually had to look at a screen to see a podcast.
I know, right?
Now it gets fed right into our brains.
Yeah, I just hope we have the hardware necessary to play this media in the future, I guess.
Oh, we will.
Yeah, that's true.
It'll be retro.
Yeah, it will be.
You know?
Fuck yeah. So anyway, thanks for joining us here. We're live on YouTube. The Between Realities VR podcast lives on YouTube, but we are elsewhere. And there's a good chance you're listening to us elsewhere. You know, Spotify, Anchor, Audible, maybe. Not even Audible, but it's out there in a lot of places. It's even on uploadvr.com. So if you're joining us from uploadvr.com, thank you. And shout out to Kyle and the rest of the homies at Upload.
Heck yeah.
Shout out also.
Love the Upload crew.
Yeah, we do, for sure. And they've been making moves, by the way. It's kind of nice to see.
Dude, they're really up in their game.
They are.
You know, like when Henry Stockdale came in and VR Gamer Dude, and like they've really started to soar, man. They're really doing a lot better. The page is like, it's just constantly has so much good stuff on it.
We might have to get
back to looking at it a lot.
We gotta have to get one of our buddies from Upload on the show before the season's over.
Heck yeah, that'd be great.
You know, or maybe I don't know. It might be tight, but anyway, I saw ClassyGrandma on the chat earlier. Hey, ClassyGrandma.
Yeah.
Thank you for being what I'm gonna say is first. Brandon VR though a close second to first, but if you ain't first, last. So, Paradise Decay is here. He's dropping squids in chat, and of course I appreciate that. Obscure Nerd VR. Andy, dude, 1 month, bro. 1 month. All right, we're in your neighborhood.
Andy, dude, I cannot wait to see what you do with that new ChatGPT 4.0 voice module. Oh my God, I'm looking forward to that, man.
By the way, homie just hit 13,000 subscribers.
Heck yeah.
on YouTube.
Oh, that's great, man.
Pretty rad.
That's great.
Ryan B's here. Super pumped for the show today. Thanks, man. Arlen's in the house. Thanks for being here, Arlen. And thanks for, being in our Discord. You know, like we're trying with that thing. You know what I mean? But you guys are keeping it alive, and we really appreciate that. Assassin 32, you know, I know you tried not to give me the heart attack with like you saying you hear my voice, but you still did. I still saw that.
He was still like,
and I was like, wait, he can hear me? You know, because like I am talking pretty much all the way up until the time that we go live. You know, it's not like we're sitting here in silence It's like waiting for it to go, you know, like we're like filling up that time. So sometimes I get worried about that, but I should know better by now.
I got you. I'm not gonna let that get through.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Q Creator says the weekend. He has never been wrong about
Heck
that.
yeah. What's up, buddy?
Scottish Gamer VR evening.
Hey.
What's up, man?
What's up?
El Diego says something hilarious. 7 minutes until launch to Awesome Conversation Station, baby.
Conversation Station. Let's go.
We are currently departing for Conversation Station. Hold on to your belongings. Duggars K's here. What's up, man? Good to see you.
Hey, Duggars.
Snow Toad in the house as well.
Snow Toad.
Love you, Snow Toad.
What's up?
Funky Sloth. Meet.
Hey.
Good to see you. Arcanian. What's up?
What's up, man? How are you?
Where's my
MickeyBerr in the chat?
The legendary
MickeyBerr.
Roy Schwartz is here as well, getting things done. My homie Jay Dunn. Good to see you, bro.
Oh, Jay Dunn.
I really miss you. Man? I can't wait to hang out with you also.
I know.
By the way, if you haven't picked it up yet, we're going to be in Long Beach in a month from now for AWE. We're also up for a AUGGIE this year, which is really cool, and I think we might even have a chance at taking it, especially with your help, everybody. So in the description below, we have a link to vote for Best Content Creator in the 2024 AWE AUGGIE Awards, and if you would be willing to take 120 to 180 seconds to dive in there, sign in, and cast a vote for your boys, that would be awesome, because we want that trophy to put on the shelf.
For real, we've been nominated for a lot of different awards and finalists for a lot of different awards. We've never won one. This would be a great one, right?
It would.
At the same time, we got some awesome people in there with us, like Get 'em in the Metaverse, Jay Dunn and Joy Rayner in there.
Which, by the way,
I'd love to see them take it as well.
Feel free to vote for those guys too.
Absolutely.
You can vote for more than one content creator. Like, by all means, I would not care at all if Getting Things Done took it.
Heck yeah.
So
absolutely.
Vote for those guys as well. Amelia Faust is here. Thanks for being here.
Hey, Amelia.
Appreciate you.
What's up?
Anticleric, what's up, man?
Hey, dude.
Good to see you.
How's it going?
Lo-Fi coming when it's done. Beat Saberita is here. What's up, Beat Saberita?
What's up?
Listen, if you guys have never seen Beat Saberita and you don't mind being mesmerized for like 5 to 10 minutes, cruise over to Beat Saberita's Instagram page.
Shredding those Beat Saber blocks.
And making it look damn good.
Yep.
Roy, I said hi to Roy. Good to see you again anyway, dude. Oh, man. Where are we at? Laszlo 216, Cleveland Heights, representing.
Did you say Philosix too?
Nope, I didn't see him. Shapeshifter, the Amorphous Game Cat, of course. Phil Marshall chilling here in the chat with us as well. And Eric Hartley. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Eric? How are you, man?
Good to see you. Are you going to be at AWE, Eric Hartley? I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so, dude. He's usually there, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I feel like you got like a 50-50 shot at getting Eric Hartley at an event.
Yeah, well, a lot of times he's there like the first day.
Oh yeah, true that. And our stuff is crazy. We never know how long we're going to be there when we're going to show up. But anyway, there is somebody who I see at damn near every event that we go to.
For real.
And we have him on as a guest today.
Heck yeah, man!
Which is pretty cool. In fact,
it's a beautiful thing.
This is a perfect example of why we go to these types of things.
Yes.
Because if we didn't go to, honestly, wherever we met him, I don't even know where it was. But if we didn't go to these things, we wouldn't have created the types of relationships that lead us to having guests like we do today. There are some pretty awesome games in the world. There's some awesome VR games in the world, and some of them are made by our friends Windlands and Windlands 2, Crystal Rift from Psytec Games, the CEO and game designer we have in the house with us today. Everybody knows him and everybody loves him. Please welcome to Between Realities, Mr. Jon Hibbins. Yo, John. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up, man? Oh, I think
so excited to be here.
Dude, look at that. He had you hook, line, and sinker.
He did. I thought he was muted again.
No muting here. Hopefully everybody can hear me loud and clear. I'm so pleased to be here. It's long overdue, to be honest with you. I have seen you grow from season 1 all the way to, what is it now, season 8?
Yeah, bro.
It's a large amount of seasons.
Heck yeah.
And I'm really pleased to be here. And
we're stoked to have you.
Talk VR.
Yes, our favorite subject.
VR.
It's funny.
You guys.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, you guys were talking about like meeting at events. Some of the best things that have happened to me have been around you guys at events. We have such a good time together when we get together, and I think we should even start with one. We played the what was it called? The gaming sandbox.
Oh, Squid Games, dude.
Squid Games.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Together. Oh my god, one of the best nights of my life. We really put energy into that game.
We really did.
Dripping sweat.
I had never been that hot. Right?
Because awesome. And it was so close. Like it was like the top of the leaderboard all the way through was like just there and then over to I think Alex took me at the end.
You think? What do you mean you think?
I am deeply scarred. I'm probably going to hold a vendetta for life on that. But you know, what an awesome night. Yeah. And honestly, I think we're going to create many more, but it's always great to hang out with you guys.
We were at GDC in San Francisco, California, and we went to, wait, was that where it was?
Yeah.
Okay. So sometimes they start to blend, like all blend together, and you go so many of these things, right? But we were hanging out, and we went to an event at Sandbox VR, and they threw a party downstairs, and it was awesome, and there was so many amazing people there, and then they let us all play kind of whatever games that we wanted, and we all wanted to play Squid Games because, you know, they've just absolutely killed it with that game. Full body tracking, full body haptics, you know, great headsets, and it was a great experience. I really liked Squid Games.
I dragged you into that place. I'm like, you've got to play this. If you've not played it, like a group of us playing it would be amazing.
Thank you for doing that.
It was so good.
Thank you for doing that. It was it was so much fun, and it is interesting.
And they don't hold back. They do stuff you'd like. All the rules in VR say don't do this.
Oh yeah, for real.
Go ahead and do it. But like the bit where you're treading across the glass and the glass breaks.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, terrifying. The first time I played that, I jumped for the edge and nearly killed myself. It's like, it's like absolutely you are. There are very few games that put you into that absolute zone of being in the room, and that is definitely one of them. It's like really gets you involved.
So here's the thing.
Room Scale's always done that. Right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
If you've never done a Sandbox VR location-based VR experience, let me kind of like give you an idea of what this is. We're all in a room together. Everybody's sharing the same space. Everybody's wearing B haptics vests and 5 focus 3s, and you have hand tracking, you have wrist tracking like on your arms, and you have like leg tracking with these weird tracker things that you wrap around your ankles.
They're optical trackers.
Yeah, so you are walking around the space, optical trackers on your hands and arms, hand tracking and everything, and the games that we're playing are competitive, like resource competitive. Like you are going for the same thing at the same time with headsets on. So like you're reaching out and hitting each other and stuff. Yeah, it is insane.
Bouncing off Skiva into the wall. You know, it's like it's just nobody cares. We're fully in it.
Yeah,
breaking controllers, smashing all the lights. You know, it's like whatever it takes to get those things. Frankly.
And it really was close.
You said you were competitive, Alex, but until I played that game with you, I had no idea how competitive you are.
I wanted to win.
You absolutely wanted to win.
And I will tell you,
if you had to take me out,
dude. Yeah, and I'll tell you, I often hold back a little bit in those scenarios because I'm a larger guy, and I could accidentally do some damage to someone if I plowed through them. Do you know what I mean? So I'm always like just a little wary of like, you know, accelerating too much in those small spaces in VR because sometimes the characters are just a hair off from where they actually are in real life, right? And so yeah,
and I was doing the same too. Like you can't like completely cut loose, but I was going as hard as I could, as comfortable as I could, and you know, I don't know what it is, man. You put me into those scenarios, and like this other side of me, like comes to the surface.
Oh, dude! Once there's an opportunity for someone to be the winner of something, you like change. It's like the Incredible Hulk comes out. It's like this transformation happens. It's so funny.
Well, John really gave me a run for my money. I was scared. We went into the last round.
Second, it couldn't be to a better guy, right? You know, it's like. Why not? You know?
Hell yeah.
I love out of home. I mean, more out of home, the better. I have, just down the road from us, we've got Wembley Stadium. I live near London, and they have a place called Zero Latency, and you will catch me in that place. It's, 8 players, full room, quite a big room, probably twice the size that the sandboxes, and I think I've played every one of those games multiple times at this point, but I still enjoy them. I mean, it's like there's nothing quite like free roaming.
The first time me and you met, we were at Zero Latency.
Yes. Yep. And I'm really happy to hear your perspective on that, because I do feel like Zero Latency, like more often than not, kind of like gets like, I don't know, like less than stellar reviews, you know, even from me. Like I went,
there's some really good stuff there. There's some really good, and VR, I am inspired by some of their VR. They have bits where you're walking up walls and the whole room and perspective changes, and they've got one, it looks quite cartoony and like a younger age range, but you're stepping between, what's that game where you've got a whip and you walk between things but don't move very much?
Oh, Eye of the Temple, I think it's called.
Yeah, that's it, Eye of the Temple. Yep. It's like that, but at room scale level. And they've got things where the world twists and and it's just, as a group, it's like just great fun. Everybody's going, whoa, it's like I'm nearly falling over and stuff. But the combination of being free roam plus, really, I think when you've got budgets for out of home that you can spend a lot more money on a very short experience, you can get the quality there, and there is some really good examples of high quality VR in there. I've done a lot at this point. Back in the old days, like the Star Wars experiences, and I think there's some awesome out of home, and it's just getting better. Frankly, that whole space is exploding. I noticed that Sandbox was it 50 million? I don't know. It's a very large number have just been invested in them to grow even faster and further. Zero latency, I'm a small investor in them, and I see that they're growing very fast. And yeah, I mean, it's great to see out of home. One of my best friends, really, Kevin Williams. He I
love Kevin Williams.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I've known him for many years at this point. I go and see some of his talks sometimes on Out of Home, and he is like nothing but bullish on it. It's a growing sector, and nearly all serious entertainment places are now installing something to do with VR, and it's great to see. I go to two shows. IAP, have you heard of IAP?
IAP, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's another one in the UK in London called AUGGIE, which are both out of home, and I go to those just to be inspired, frankly, because the arcade games that they're showing, like EAG is mostly arcade machines, but I think I counted 20 odd arcade machines by people like Sega, and there's Asphalt 7 in VR, and there's racing car games on bikes in VR, and it's a whole different level of polish, but also I don't know. It's very arcade does stuff you would never do in an average video game. Frankly, you just like everything's coming at you. You've got like tornadoes going past your ears, and you've got and it's so intense you couldn't sustain that for very long. But for a 10-minute or 5-minute even arcade session, it's full on arcade, VR, and it's quite interesting from a technical study point of view to go to those shows and see that. And then the IAP that only comes to London every so often. I think it's Vegas and somewhere else, but that's
Orlando,
the same
Florida.
Sort of deal. Yeah. I get to see a lot of like back-to-back 4-player games, and and frankly, these are the biggest free arcades ever, right? Everything's on free play. There's hardly anybody there. There's no queues for anything, and you get to spend a day playing arcade games. I mean, it's and the very latest. They're not even in the streets yet. So I love going to those shows, but they are very, very inspiring. They charge my battery.
Yeah, I've worked a good majority of those over the past, I don't even know how many years, 5 years or 4 years or something. I don't know. I used to work for Vertigo Games, and one of the half of my time was always spent with the location-based services with Springboard, which is a Vertigo service. And Springboard is
Springboard.
Springboard's great, and I actually still work with them. They are a client of Impact Realities, so I still do a lot of support and stuff for them as well. But I've done a lot of IAPAs, a lot of amusement expos, which is so much fun. It's not quite as fun when you got to set all those things up and then break them all down, but man, just watching everyone have their minds blown, right?
It's like premium VR, right? You get to see what a large amount of money can do for a very small experience, and they can afford the best equipment and wireless. I mean, a lot of that stuff is you're probably already aware because of it's all wireless now, 6E transfer from PCs that are stood in racks and stuff. And it's, it's really cutting edge, and they don't have the budget difficulties of home consumer. So you get to, play stuff you can't do. And frankly, social VR is just it's why Windlands 2 was social and multiplayer. It's a lot harder to do that, right? We had to have engineers from day one to do it, but it pays off in the long run because social VR is like it's killer app.
To me, it's funny. It's mission critical.
Yeah, it's funny that people think it's like so not social, and it's like it's awesome, right? It's like the best thing about it is the fact that we can play games together, right?
And truly feel together.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you feel like you're in the same room. I'm really into social VR. I play every Wednesday with the same group of people. Shout out to Anthony and Kirsty and my eldest daughter. But every Wednesday for many years now, we do multiplayer VR or multiplayer gaming. Mostly horror games.
Oh, really? Really, man, I have a hard time with horror games.
We played Phasmophobia for a long period of time, but frankly, it couldn't keep pace with our appetite for it, so we had to move on to other things. There aren't enough patches or maps, or it just couldn't keep pace with us, which is sad because I love that game. But at the moment, we've been playing Devour. Have you played Devour?
Oh man, I've watched my friends play it, and I just can't. Stuff like that just scares me to death, man.
It is terrifying and brutally hard. I don't know how many attempts to kill the electric woman it took us, but it really requires communication. That game is so scary. It's got 2 modes at the start where you can choose to have localized sounds, so you can only hear people when they're close to you and they fade off as they get further away, or server wide. I won't play that game unless it's localized, unless it's server wide, because I don't like being on my own in that game at all. I need to hear my friends. It's too much.
Oh yeah.
I quite like horror. In fact, I've just watched a horror film. I've just watched Abigail, which is one of the latest horror films. So I like horror, but there's a point where I don't want to play Madison. It looks too much for me. Too many jump scares and single player. Oh my god,
dude,
no!
Everyone is saying it's the scariest game ever.
Oh, I can't do it.
I cringe just thinking about doing it.
Man,
yeah, I really can't do it. I think my good friend Zimtok, I've been watching some of his stuff, right, and I've had to turn it off. I'm like, no, it's just God. If I'm hearing Zimtok scream, I know it's probably terrifying because he's properly hardcore when it comes to VR.
Well, that game is single player, right?
Yeah,
and that is when things are truly at their most terrifying.
Just you.
Is when you have no one there to bounce that fear off of and kind of calm it down and make light of the situation. It's just you and that terrifying situation. I have a real hard time with that.
Why are 4 of the 5 highest quality VR experiences available all so terrifying?
I know.
I want to play Resident Evil. I want to play Madison. I want to play these super high quality games.
Resident Evil. Have you not played all the Resident Evils? They aren't horror.
No,
they
are scary, bro.
There are scary things in all of them. The bit where you get your arm chopped, spoiler alert, in Resident Evil 7, terrifying. I mean, the first time I ever played, so I'm a dev, so I get to see hardware early, right? So the first time I went into Sony to see their brand new PlayStation VR 1, right? That's pretty exciting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't told much about the hardware, going in to see it. Went into a room and they're like, are you okay with, scary things? Yeah, I'm fine with scary things. Put PSVR 1 on my head and showed me a demo called Kitchen, which is basically, I think Capcom made it, and it was like, you strapped to a chair, those days there weren't move controllers, you strapped to a chair with a controller, and there's like a very scary woman basically in the kitchen of Resident Evil 7, which eventually came out, right? And comes up and puts a knife in you, showing off the local, the very short focal range on it. So you've got daggers in your eye, and you fall over on the floor, and it was absolutely terrifying. And then the shark demo as well, following that, where you go down in a cage, which is all lovely, right?
I could do that.
Jellyfish and whatever. And then sharks banging into the cage and stuff. And I'm like, I took this headset off, and I'm like, yeah. Great, yeah.
But that wasn't your first VR experience, right? You've been in VR for a lot longer than that.
Oh, God, loads on that. I mean, DK1 guys, so right back then. Crystal Rift was a launch title Crystal Rift and Windlands were both launch titles for Steam's store for VR.
Wow.
Oculus's store for VR and PlayStation's store for VR. So I feel like I should have a little badge there that says managed to survive the last minute SDK changes and pure VR hell in those days, but somehow got something on the store. So no, Windlands 1 and Crystal Rift were proper like first early versions.
That's some like true OG stuff. Like you're there as a launch title for like every consumer headset that came out.
And back then everyone was so concerned of motion sickness, right? And everyone was like, oh, don't move the player, don't make him do anything too crazy, people will be puking. John's like, hold my beer. No, hold my beer. We're gonna be swinging like Spider-Man through trees and like, dude. Windlands is so fun.
I love that. I mean, it's not me alone that makes these games. There's a whole bunch of us that makes games. There's a whole bunch of history with Windlands and everything, right? And there's a lot of very respectable people that you know, a lot of those are considered lifelong friends now, and you know, there's some credible talent involved in making Windlands. I don't want to take all credit, but you know, I've always been CEO and art, and you know, I suppose game director to those things and delivering of them. So I take a big chunk of that pleasure in saying that, you know, these are games that babies I really care about, really. And Windlands was always, I mean, it's what I liked about it. It was like, I didn't want VR. If you go right back, I mean, we're talking DK1 there. Truthfully, I go back way further than that. You remember the virtuality machines?
Oh, yeah.
You ever see those? Great.
Oh, dude, my first experience was Dactyl Nightmare on there.
Yes, so I know Dactyl Nightmare well. I used to play that at the Trocadero Centre in London when I was younger, but mostly I didn't play that actually, although I had played it. The dev office was in Nottingham near my in my student days. You can see I'm getting on a bit now, but while I was a student, the dev office was very close to my office, and I used to go into the dev office once a week, and they were making a game called Legend Quest on an Amiga 4000 in the back room, and every week they would add a little bit, and I'm not kidding, a little bit. It's like they were hand coding triangles. It's like this was really slow dev in those days. It was all machine code. It was all the hand code. You know, like just putting the vectors in by hand. And they'd add just a tiny little bit to that game, and I would play the extra. You know, I'd play through what was there and then this extra little bit. So I was like addicted to VR from a long time ago, and it was just sad when it disappeared, really. But yeah, well, as soon as it came back, I was like immediately hooked. And it's a fairly short story. As soon as I put the DK2 on my head, and I'd already been programming Crystal Rift as like a tribute to Dungeon Master with a level editor, so people could make their own levels. And it was just a hobby, you know. I was just doing that for fun, hanging out around my kin, you know, other game devs in a local bar that opened up to allow us to code in the room. And yeah, I put it on my head, got the SDK working really quickly, put one jump scare in one of the main corridors, and there was like, I'd gone from having a game that people were passively interested I was doing to a game where there was like a queue of people wanting to have a go. So it was like, it was just, I saw the light there really quickly, and then, you know, I've not regretted that to this day, really. I think VR is a transformative medium and only getting better and better, frankly. It's funny, throughout this entire journey, there are so many games out now, and I consider myself like you know, if I ever sat on Mastermind, I could probably do computer games between 1980 or 1975 and 2024, right? But there are so many VR games now and so much good quality stuff that I can't even keep track of it, and that's how, you know, just I can only be proud of the industry where it's got to today from the DK1 side. But then there's a whole journey, because, you know, being early adopting into VR, talking a lot now, sorry.
I'm eating it up. I'm eating it up, brother. You just keep on going.
Yeah, no, from early days, I mean, I just had a lot of fortuitous meetings with the right people, you know, to meet Sony early and get on board with them. I did a couple of things with Valve. So they'd come to the UK to show the headset, and I was one of the, you know, there aren't that many people that got to see it. In fact, while I was sat in the room getting the intro, the BBC, which is like obviously the biggest news organisation in the UK, but known locally, they came in to try and do an interview, and they were turned away. You know, it's like, it was just such an opportune moment. And then I went into a back room and did Broom Scale for the first time with the 5 pre actually. It was like the really early one. I managed to get a dev kit, and, you know, I was one of the first people to show in the UK, and then, you know, pretty much the same story for Oculus. You know, I managed to get early dev kit, or, you know, certainly early DK2. I had dev kit for that, and the early controllers, and, you know, so the whole journey there, and it hasn't really stopped. I've got piles, and a lot of it you can't see, of dev kits and various things. Today, you know, it's like it hasn't really stopped, and but yeah, I'm full in on VR, and I'm not just a dev. I absolutely love playing VR. You know, I've just brought Ultimate Swing Golf. I'm up for that. Last game I played was Arcade Paradise, maybe.
Oh, I love Arcade Paradise. Nice.
Yeah, obviously checked out Contractors Showdown, Resident Evil. I play every month, the last Sunday of the month. I do GT7 with Zimtop Crowd and Book 3131, and, you know, Mike of VR Oasis turns up to that sometimes. You know, we race every month. I've done that for maybe 4 years now. I just love VR, but I don't only VR, you know. I've completed Elden Ring, and I've done, you know, lots of 2D gaming, you know, a bit of Helldivers, a bit of, you know, I love gaming, full stop.
Well, okay, so hold up. Now I'm going to put the brakes on you. I read a tweet recently from, I think it was Nima that posted it. It was a retweet of somebody who was working at a VR game dev studio, and they were like, hey, so I was working at this VR game dev studio, and turns out none of them play VR games. And
I think I saw that tweet as well.
Yeah, and it kind of seems like that's not the only company out there, you know, and like that got me thinking, like, can you speak to that at all from a developer perspective? Like, why somebody would be making VR games, but like they don't play VR games?
Well, I mean, there are different types of organizations, right? I mean, you know, this is a tough one for me because I very much employ the latest person Psytec Games has employed is Callum Hurley, and anybody that knows Callum Hurley knows he is like absolutely embedded in VR. He's been around for a long time. He's run showcases on it, loves VR, only ever worked in VR. It's a dream job to work in VR gaming. And, you know, I describe the type of people that I love to employ as incredibly talented, you know, love gaming. I don't want like everybody to be the same. I want everybody to have a different background, and the people, you know, I won't name names because I don't think it's fair to shout them out on a random public stuff. But, you know, I'm very privileged to work with people that love gaming, but from all different angles. So I don't think, you know, necessarily we seek only the type of person that does X, Y, and Z. But I think it's really important to love VR. I think everybody that works in Psytec loves VR, and, you know, likes different types of games. You know, I don't play Assassin's Creed at all, right? I just don't know why. I don't really get on with it. It's not my type of game. I don't like turn-based puzzle games, right? But real time, you know, bring on StarCraft, and I'm up for it. And yeah, so I actually actively look for different people in the company. But, you know, there are some large companies that and individuals, frankly, that sort of pigeonhole them into doing one thing. You know, they do animation, or they do, you know, 3D modeling or texturing, or they're a technical artist and that's all they do, and they turn up for work every day. They do a competent job, but they don't care about the bigger picture. And I get that, you know, they're still very skilled at what they do, and large companies sometimes need those people in them. But, you know, I would rather have a smaller company with talented, passionate individuals. I think it shows in your game. The attention to detail and the love that you put in when you really care. I think it oozes in the game. I think you can't avoid it. There's so much stuff in Windlands I'm proud of.
But here's the thing: you used the example of somebody on the art team. Like that, I don't necessarily think is necessary, right? But if you're like creating an experience for somebody, like there is stuff that works in VR that like you only know through experience of being in these things. You know what I mean? Like VR experiences are really unique in the way that you interact with them, and the way that you display information to the users, all that kind of stuff. And if you don't come from a VR background, how can you possibly innovate? I don't think you can innovate at all, but obviously we're looking for people to innovate, but at least just like hit like the benchmark of like what
we're trying to innovate, Alex. Yeah. Do you want to play the next game? And we'll check it out.
Yeah. I mean, because I was gonna say, you know, and
we are doing nothing but everyday innovating. Our next game is like innovative left, right, and center. We're doing some whole new stuff, but and I'm super excited. Nothing to announce today. I'm really excited to show everybody what we're making, but it's not for today. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to innovate, and I can go into a VR game and in minutes start judging, and it's not my fault. It's like I'm so preconceived now about what's wrong and what's right, and you know, and there's just really basic things that you've got to keep up to date with. I don't know, really simple example, right? starting a game in XR mode, so you're seeing through, then your splash screen should be in XR, right? It's like really, it's like, and when it's not, or it's very flat, and I personally can't stand flat screen input, right? Laser pointers on flat 2D, because it's like, you can just tell that they've left that till the last minute, or just done a frankly poor job of implementing basic VRs. We've been, a decade now in VR, so if you're not putting in left-hand modes in and snap turns and comfort and, I could name 100 other things, but you should be going way deeper than that now, right? You should, automatic standing and seating modes, automatic, crouching modes for people that have got disabilities, and, I've got a great big list of them that I've built over years that we really pay careful attention to, and I can't pretend we always get that right, but we absolutely care that the games are right, and VR is fairly mature right now, so when I do see games that just miss a whole bunch of basic stuff, and it makes me weep in the inside, because honestly there are some people, you guys included, but I can definitely name Mike VR Aces, Gamertag VR, Zimtot's a really good example. You just need to put your game in front of these people once, pay them, frankly, like it won't cost you very much, right, to get that done, and they'll just immediately point out A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Yep. And
sometimes like, especially because GT, I think, is probably the #1 guy for that. Like, I mean, he does it. What's the word? Like, it doesn't matter whether or not you ask for it. Like, he's gonna give you the feedback. And I feel like GT like finds himself in this weird spot where like he cares about VR, he cares about developers, so he wants to provide them honest feedback, but he like gets crap for it, or like they get mad because he ripped up their game or whatever, or they don't implement some of that feedback. And I'm sure you see that too. Like, developers are making a game, someone plays it, and they're like, you should really add this, and this, and this, and they're like, whatever, and like those things don't end up getting in there, like. Yeah,
I can tell you honestly, I could give you 100 examples of where I've told devs do this and they've not done it. It's, and I'm not doing that to be arrogant. I'm genuinely, from my heart, I want to see good VR out there. So you can go right back to examples where I've seen early stuff, and I don't want to give any examples, but I definitely do my part to try and help people point out where games are missing things, and I do get a lot of keys from friends in the industry, and they want to check stuff out, and I do everything I can to help them. I just like anything I can do to help, frankly. I have a lot of really good friends in devs, and I would say this is an incredibly privileged industry to be in. We do, we have lunches together, we talk privately, we share information, and I've seen it on the community, on the content creator side as well, so I totally respect that you've got that community there as well. But it's just a really good group of people, and we all just want to help each other and let the whole industry rise, frankly. And that's good.
It's cool that you mentioned the content creator thing there too, because I feel like you in particular, Jon, do this, like you do an amazing job of like caring about both sides of that coin. Like, sometimes people are developers, they're just devs, like they're in the dev bubble, they live here in developer world, they're in the private discords, we don't hear from them. Sometimes creators, same thing, they're over here, they're in their private bubble or whatever. But I feel like you do like live right in the middle, like you have such good relationships with so many content creators and like so many other people within the industry that maybe other developers wouldn't necessarily be like connecting with on such an intimate level.
Well, there's, I mean, you guys included, awesome people, right? I think it's just our kin, right? It's like people that love VR, and oh my God, the list of people I know. I mean, most of the people that have risen in VR now and become really big, I've known since they were like, a few hundred followers, and there's no agenda. I don't care whether people cover my games. I just want friends that are like-minded, and I'm privileged. To know so many awesome people in VR, including you guys, and. I just like hanging out and talking VR, honestly. I mean, just like we are now, right? It's just
this is it.
We share the same thing. But I mean, God, the UK's amazing, and I do everything I can to help the UK. I put on a Chinese every so often for like when there's a big event, so I can get people around the table and together. And I run a VR breakfast at Brighton to try and get people together as well. So I do what I can. Never enough, frankly. I think there needs to be bigger stuff all the time. But I've got real like we talked about gamertag there. I consider gamertag like a really good friend at this point. Flew to New York with Mike, and
yeah, that's so awesome.
They might not like me saying this, but we went to karaoke together the other day and had Chinese as a family, and and it was awesome. Just hanging out with them, and then I've got new friends that I'm starting to make. I like at GDC, I met Reese the King for the first time, and Don Hopper for the first time. And I've been around so many people for so long. They've changed career many times and jumped. Like Sam Watts is a really good friend now, and we go out for meals and stuff when we're out in Dubrovnik or whatever. And he's gone from working in VR over to HTC and now over at Unity and stuff. And I'm just privileged to know so many people. I was on Reverend Kyle, who's now the editor of Upload. I was on his podcast 3 times right back early days, and there's a whole set of stories there at different connects and stuff.
Dude, by the way, you mentioned karaoke. I have to say, apparently this is something that happens annually, but it was my first time ever participating in this.
Did you go the year before?
Well, no,
you weren't there at all.
I wasn't even at GDC. But at GDC in San Francisco every year, there's a VR crew karaoke party that happens in like this private karaoke room. And
nobody ever wants to do karaoke until the karaoke comes on. Then nobody wants to do karaoke.
I gotta say, man, like I did not know what to expect. Like we get there, it's kind of chill. We're like, okay, and shout out to Nima again, because Nima was like, give me that microphone, and like got up there and just like started belting out some Blink-182, and before you know it, like everybody's passing the microphone around. There's so many people from the VR community singing songs together and stuff, and it just really got me thinking about like how connected we all really are, because singing in front of someone is like such a vulnerable place to be, you know, like you really have to be vulnerable to allow that to happen. And we're comfortable with each other enough to sit there and sing Backstreet Boys as we look into each other's eyes, like it really is special, man. And I felt so lucky to be a part of that.
Those rooms though, too, it's not just like when you go to karaoke at a bar, like one person or a couple people get up on stage and they sing and everyone sits there and judges, right? These rooms, it's like people grab a mic, but the entire room is belting out every single song. It's just a big group of everyone just sitting around singing and drinking and having fun and bonding together. And man, karaoke it's pretty awesome. It really is. That was a great time.
We had a very good night. I sung Shallow with my daughter. And the last time before that I did karaoke, I think I sung a Radiohead song. What did I sing? No Surprises by Radiohead. Nice. So that really brought the room down. Followed it up with Daydream Believer though, so know what I'm doing.
Oh, man. Hey, by the way, I got to stop for a second and say congratulations to Kensei Gaming VR.
Heck yeah!
You are a married man. You're the real deal. Steve and I were lucky enough to actually attend the wedding. That's why we did not have a show last Friday. It was a beautiful ceremony. Obviously Kensei was looking amazing, gorgeous bride, like everything was on point, and we're really happy for you, dude.
Congrats, Kensei, you're the best, dude.
You really are.
Both of you guys are amazing.
And now that you've done this, you can hit us up and like go out with me and my lady to an arcade bar or something, right? We've been trying to make this double date thing happen for a while. So.
Yeah, pick me too. I'm always happy to be a third wheel.
you be a fifth wheel. We're gonna have the fifth wheel of Skiva at this thing. So anyway, congrats again, man, and thanks for having us there. That was really cool.
Heck yeah. Right on. That was a good time. Tribe Grey Wolf and his wife Jordy came out. We just all had so much fun.
Yeah, it was really
really cool. Yep.
It was good. Okay, where do we go from here?
Man, well, I will tell you this. We haven't even mentioned this game yet. We talked a little bit about Windlands 1. Man, this game for me is like quintessential VR. I have played so much Windlands 2. Like Windlands 1 came out, I was like, whoa, this is crazy, right? And I didn't play it that much, but Windlands 2, I have put some serious hours in that game. And you get to swing around with your friends and do all this stuff with your friends, and you legitimately feel like you're like this crazy Spider-Man character, but you're in this fantasy world. But it does go to show you too that like people would always say like, oh, Spider-Man can't be done. You can't do that to people in VR. People will be freaking out. No, you can. And this game absolutely proves it. Windlands 2, one of my favorite titles ever. Click on the link below. Go buy it if you haven't played this game. If you haven't played this game, I don't know what you're doing in VR anyway. But if you haven't, Go down, play it.
Dude, by the way, Kensei just giving us his wedding gift back, or some of it, $20 donation from Kensei. Love you guys. You two are the best. Thanks so much,
dude.
man. You know, appreciate you busting out into the wedding fund.
Heck yeah.
To support Between Realities. I have a Windlands 2 story that I want to share.
Heck yeah.
It was way back in the day, right? This is like, I mean, not way back, because I'm not a super true OG, but I've been around for a while. And when Airlink, or was it Airlink? Is that what it's always been called? Or
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, there was Link, and then the wireless version came out.
Airlink, the wireless one. When that became a thing, I was doing some experimenting, and I was airlinking to my PC, and I wanted to test the range of everything. My computer is upstairs, and I went downstairs into my living room to test Airlink, and I was going to play Windlands 2 because it was bHaptics native, and there were not a lot of bHaptics native games available at the time. And I put on my full bHaptics suit and walked all the way downstairs and airlinked and Bluetoothed up to my computer upstairs, and everything worked. I was completely wireless, playing a PC VR game with a full haptic suit on. It was my first like wireless haptic suit experience in my living room downstairs, and it was Windlands 2.
That's beautiful.
I'll definitely.
And now you don't have to. Now it's native to the Quest 2.
Yes, exactly.
And not only is it native to the Quest 2, but I would almost challenge you to run those games like right after each other and see if you can even spot a difference. Like they have done, well, I should say you and your team have done.
You mean the Quest version versus the PC?
Right. Take credit for this. I did the Quest 3 optimization and push.
Nice.
Oh my god, it's so
me.
good.
I mean, I do game direct, but like a large proportion of the code in Windlands 2 was me, and definitely get involved in everything. Right? It's like I do hands-on, and I'm pretty capable of that stuff. Less so as I'm getting more and more into growth because we're bigger now and we're doing more stuff. But I'm very, even today I've coded on our next game. Right, I've been doing some stuff. Anything I could do to help us grow the team and take off some pressure or do something that is
two
my
things.
skill level.
First of all,
I did the port for.
And it's beautiful, man. Absolutely love it.
Hold on, two things.
All of it.
Two things. I've got some payment, some super chats I did not get a chance to call out that I want to, because Paradise Decay just doubled up to make sure that he says, for John the Legend, the Bagel King. He has donated four pounds to the Bagel King, John the Legend. We're keeping that.
The Bagel King. I want to know this story.
I think we're going to find out.
Last time I saw PD, I took the Apple Vision Pro to one of the events because there aren't many in the UK, and a lot of the content creators. I mean, there's a big list of content creators here, but a lot of them haven't seen like the Vision Pro. So I spent 2 hours so they're putting it on various people's heads in the back room of WASD, which is a thing. And so the last time I saw PD, he was wearing a Apple Vision Pro. What did you think, PD?
Nice.
There you go.
I don't know what the hell that has to do with bagels, but thanks for sharing. 149 from Snow Toad.
No, that event is very close to a 24-hour bagel shop that does salt beef bagel like you wouldn't believe, and it's like it's on. I don't know, it's called Brick Street or something in London. Yeah, we went for bagels now. I remember.
Nice.
149 from Snow Toad, just dropping the popcorn because it's entertainment and he's watching us like a movie. And then ClassyGrandma dropped $5 on us too. Hey. Boom. She said, "This is for poor John's mental health bills after playing games with us." What? It wasn't that bad, right, John?
I honestly loved that. More of that. Let's do more of that.
Yeah, more of that for sure.
And more drinking to go with more of that. Yeah.
Well, if we have to, I am kind of like Ski, but like, I mean, I'll go out like with my wife for a cocktail, but like, I usually don't drink at home. I smoke at home, but I don't drink at home. And when I go to these events, it's like every single night, like boom, like dude, night after night after night after night.
It's party time. Yeah, it's go time. Yep.
I mean, I go to a lot of events, or as many as I can, right? So GDC for me was 7 a.m. meetings.
Yep.
3 o'clock in a Denny's. 5 days running, similar story.
You ate at Denny's 5 days in a row.
And even the parties that I really wanted to be at, because I went to the metal one and the HTC thing. I had to be in another one as well because I'm doing some venture capital raise and trying to get to meet venture capitalists and spend time with them, and I'm like just running between things because Psytec Games is wanting to grow. So if you're a venture capitalist, by the way, and watching this, please contact us. We are hypergrowth. We're doing 10 times budget on the next game, etc. But please reach out because we want to talk to you. But I was running between meetings, and it was just absolutely insane. But you guys, highlights of that event. I saw you multiple times. We had a great, just lovely sitting there and just chatting, and it was really good. It was really, really nice to have that time with you. And I know we've met before, but it was just GDC was particularly nice.
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, we had a lot of great conversations and just great hanging out there. The GDC is one of my favorites because there's so many amazing people there. There's so many amazing developers and so many amazing hardware companies, and so much magic happens there. So much business happens there, but so much like you work hard and then you play harder. Yeah. So it is a great expo. Anyone that hasn't been in GDC, if you have a way, and
always meeting people. I saw Emnis there. I saw Eric there. I saw Dom there. I can't even remember all the names I saw there. Mickey was with you. It was awesome hanging out with him, and that was great as well. Loads of devs. It's not my favourite show, though. My favourite show I've just come back from is in Dubrovnik. It's called Reboot.
Bro, we gotta get to that.
People keep telling me about Reboot.
I've already booked next year. It's by far my favourite show. It's like
that's what I keep hearing.
But it's different, right? I mean, Gamescom and GDC, and they're just huge, mammoth things. I mean, I love Connect because I get to hang out with my kin more often. But yeah, the best show by far for me is Reboot. The food that I accidentally, and I'm not kidding, ended up eating multiple Michelin star restaurants 4 days running. You can't. I reckon you can't avoid them. They're just the food is so amazing out there. The weather was good for the first
Tell everybody where this is.
Yeah.
Tell everybody where it is.
But then there might. Oh no, I've got tickets for next year. It's fine.
Where is it?
Reboot Blue in Dubrovnik. And it's one of the. It's just.
Yeah, it's in like a freaking paradise.
It's not really a consumer thing. I have to be honest. It's more dev and industry stuff. But there are talks on everything from marketing to state of the industry to games. You won't find it boring. But fundamentally, you'll be hanging out with people. And. Yeah, I mean, it's just an absolutely lovely place to do business. You just sit there with the crystal blue sea while you're having a coffee and chatting, and it's one of the nicest events. Period.
Looks gorgeous. Every time I see pictures from that, I'm just like in awe at how beautiful everything looks.
Just casual Croatia.
I love tropical, the ocean and palm trees, and that's my jam. So I got to get out there.
Yeah, it's definitely that, and this is like my fourth or something. It's like. It's one of my favorites by a long way.
Nice.
2 pounds from Scottish Gamer VR. Scottish Gamer VR says a thank you to John for the Chinese. You got him some Chinese? You took him to Chinese?
Yeah.
No.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I try my hardest. That's nothing compared to the value of having friends. So many of those. But I mean, there's so many. Let me do some call outs. Apart from Reese the King, I mentioned this Dr. Oculus Scorpio. I've got to remember everybody. Clickster, Power on VR, Mac in VR, Paradise Decay obviously is here. Ham VR, Dazinentech, Cold Venger, Snowtoad, Scottish Gamer, Welsh Gamer. I just recently met Tigress X at the last one.
Oh, cool.
Who else? I'd probably miss people. I'm sorry if I have.
Tigress X has been growing, man.
Yeah, I can't remember everybody, but I mean, globally, I'm always bumping into people. So it's like whether it's I mean, and I've done a lot of things. Like Zimtok and I have hung out on holidays and gone, before Connects and things. And he came with us last year to Connect as well. And I just I consider, nearly everybody that I get to know over time. We just love being together, right? We hang out, we talk industry, and I just and anything I can do to help, I will. Yeah.
Well, and some of us make games, that's the crazy thing, and that's why, and like I said, that's why I like you, because you're here, you're a part of our community of podcasters and video creators, but making games to me is it's like magic, it's like wizardry. I would not even know. I don't know. You know what I mean? I just don't know. So it's amazing that we have people out there who are making these types of experiences. And to be honest, I am over here thinking about what you guys are doing, because Windlands 2 came out quite a while ago, so I'm not trying to pry.
It's in TLCs right now for PSVR 2.
which is cool.
So it's like so it's like at the very last stage of TRCs. There's like 3 or 4 issues and some things that we want to solve before launch. But we do it. You know, it's hard to spend time, budget, and energy on older games, but we think it's important to make sure that you know they're up to date and we address any issues we've got. So we did recently patch the PC and the Quest version to be crossplay, because it never launched with crossplay. Actually, we weren't really in a business position, truthfully, to you know support the servers and the infrastructure and the costs of that and the time involved in doing crossplay properly. But we did do crossplay because our next game we want to make sure is crossplay, right? So we built a lot of our Psytec framework or whatever, our code out for crossplay, and then we've applied a lot of that to.
The next game is multiplayer. Right, but like, what else have you shared about it? Like, because I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I know anything, but I don't think I know anything about this game. So, like, what can we know?
No, nobody does, Alex. We're making a couple of games ahead, but the one that's in like main production right now, we're not really talking about. I can't really tell you.
Can't say anything.
I am very, very proud of what we're building. We're building something that is way better than anything we've done before, and hopefully people see that straight away. We're loving it because we play it all the time. We have a full team playtest every Friday, and like that was today, but we play every day. You know, we in fact from Windlands 2 we actually did a lot of our meetings inside VR. I mean, it was common for us to be inside the game making the game, which is weird. Yeah. There's all sorts of hidden stuff which obviously is excluded from the builds that are put live, so it's not there if people are looking for it. But we can whip up levels, mark things, tag stuff, bringing in assets, do all sorts of clever things, jump around the world, change the state of the gameplay and stuff from within VR, and that's how we develop, really, and that's matured into the next game as well. And no, I'm absolutely loving what we're making. I'm really excited to get out there. You know, we're going to announce at some point, we're going to show some trailers, you know, all of those type of things.
This year, will we hear some of this year?
I just can't. I'm not.
You can't say anything.
No, it's like we're just not ready for that. I mean, on the horizon right now, Windlands 2 definitely coming to PSVR 2. It's as I say, it's in TRCs. You know, we'll get through TRCs. I see some. You know, I don't want to make the mistake of saying, oh, it's going to be like next month, and then it fails TRCs. And you know, I see that's happened to other people. You know, we just get through TRCs. We'll make sure it's on there, and we're happy. It will be free. I can say this: it will be free for anybody that currently owns Windlands 2 on the PlayStation VR 1. Yes, that's it. Right. So we'll do a free upgrade so that you know anybody that's bought it already, they'll get this PSVR 2 version for free, and then you know basically very happy with it. It's like the Quest 3 port. You know, we're trying to get the best quality out of it we can, and trying to get the haptics right and the visual fidelity right.
Yeah, are you leveraging any like PlayStation VR exclusive features, you know, for VR?
Yeah, as much as we can. With
I guess you probably don't need it.
Well,
right?
it doesn't need foveated actually, but it's a very unusual world that we built with Windlands 2. We don't. Yeah, it's got a very unique pipeline because, as you know, you can see a very long way in at full detail. It does mean that we can push the limits of the hardware. So, like you mentioned Quest 3 earlier, it runs at 1.5 render scale, which is as crisp as the headset can get, really, and it runs at you know the full frame rate as smooth as you can get it. There's a lot of debates about that, even internally. Is it better to run at less frame rate but at 90 or 120? Is it better to run at 70? I feel like there's this world where you've got quality or performance like you have on a PlayStation, but we've not yet got that in VR. And there's a lot of people that vary, but there are tools, aren't there, that you can play with some of those things. So,
yeah, I personally prefer frame rate over resolution, which is obviously why I still use an index, right? Because the resolution on that's garbage, but the frame rate is incredible. But man, I'm kind of curious, has anyone in our chat not played Windlands 2? I'm curious if that's even a thing, because if you haven't, I'm telling you, play this game.
Well, if you have, thank you. I mean, the reason we're making games today is because you've brought Windlands 2, and frankly, anything you do to support us there just goes straight into the coffers for the next game. So, yeah. No, I can say that, you know, it's the biggest budget game we've ever done. We're spending lots of time on this. This has already been, in fact, the next game has been brewing like since about halfway through Windlands 2. So it's like we always sort of knew what we were going to build.
Oh, interesting.
So it's maybe, in reality 6+ years old, this game, but in actual full-on dev, out of game design documents and stuff, we're really busy on it. There's a big team of us on it right now. I've got the talent on this team is like unbelievable, frankly. We've got the musicians comes from working on Disney projects. We've got, musicians audio directors, works at Creative Assembly and has got that history. We've got, just an unbelievable amount of talent, really. And it shows. Sweet. The game is really starting to show its opportunities to be an exceptional game, and we're doing everything we can to make it that way.
Sweet. I absolutely love it. And obviously we're fans of Windlands here, and there is a link again, like we said in the description below. I'm pretty sure it's even a referral link for Skivas.
Yeah, I'd never done that before. I was like, maybe we can give people a discount.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We can get like 25% off the game.
Unlimited now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
mm-hmm. I can discount your game. How you like that?
Yeah, 25% less. Does Meta subsidize that?
I don't know. I'm not sure how that works.
I'm sure that hits Meta's coffers.
It must,
I've
right?
had a busy week. I've seen Meta this week. I've been to the head of they came to me, but I've seen Meta this week. Saw 3 people from Meta this week. I've seen Pico this week. I've been at their offices in London as well. So it's been a busy week for meeting with platforms, and platforms full stop, underline, there's so much going on. You can't, it's like I've never seen the industry so busy, frankly. There is lots on the horizon. There's lots of stuff happening. It's just incredibly exciting time actually to be in VR. It's like the games are coming out that are really solid, and the investment's there. Never enough, again, VCs more. This is a hungry, growing market. It's a bubble, and it's about to explode. The hardware's getting so damn good. The insights that the Apple Vision Pro, which is such a beautiful device, isn't it? Isn't this a beautiful device?
It really is.
Having had this personally for a while now, it shows you somewhat of the future and what that can be like, and that's all going to downstream to affordability and just great technology across the board, really. We talked about GDC. I think I met with Valve and Samsung, and it's just everybody that you would expect to be interested in VR. It was just felt like it was as alive as it could possibly be.
Dude,
couldn't be any more.
I'm so happy to hear this perspective from you, man, because I feel like there are a lot of people in the industry who have been in the industry for a long time who don't share your perspective, who have gotten burnt out, who expected the bubble to pop by now, and who feel like we're stuck in this forever niche space. And honestly, I feel like your perspective is maybe not the majority. I think a lot of people are still kind of bullish on VR and don't expect it to have that impact.
I don't really get that anymore. I mean, just pure investment going into VR is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And really, honestly, we haven't seen anything yet. We're seeing the fruits. Like Batman's a good example, right? This is the fruit of a decision 3 years ago, right? Or more.
Yeah.
It's it's not the fruits of last week at GDC.
Yeah.
Right. And what I'm seeing is doubling down on quality and doubling down on investing in things like those games, right? And there is enough really, really amazing quality, high investment games coming out now that you can't be disappointed as a consumer player. I haven't got time to play them all and complete them all. I am now at the point where I pick and choose of the quality, high invested, really good studio software that's made. So, that can't be a better position for VR. And lots of people are making money. We've had, 100 million plus revenues, many of them. Any individual game is, minimum of 5 times in back, mostly 20 times in back. There's flops, but there is in gaming forever, right? These things that don't quite hit for many of the reasons we talked about. Either the implementation's not right, it doesn't resonate with people, or it's another wave shooter or whatever. It's and they don't quite take off like you'd want them to. But there's many hits and successes. The hardware's just getting better. It's really affordable. It's never been so cheap to get onto it. And frankly, hallelujah. Frankly, it's VR is really incredible now. Go back to DK.
Really
go
is.
try a DK2 on.
Yeah.
It's like we are so lucky as fans to have so much. And then Apple bring out a device that, frankly, but if you've done spatial personas, which I'm sure you guys have done, it just blows me away.
That's nuts.
We can watch movies in sync. We can play games at the same time. We can be in the same room. They've got to be doing edge computing, because I know networking really well, and it's really difficult to get low latency where you can follow eyes and hands and fingers. And yet, it's all magically doing that, and it's the one version, God knows what, of improvements. Every week there seems to be a patch on my Vision Pro that brings more improvements with it, and that's before probably the big announcements at WASD with Apple Vision OS 2 and M4 chips are now in the out there in the iPad Pro, and you could be Apple or Android. Frankly, I'm agnostic to hardware and consoles. I just love technology. I have it all right. But you have to give Apple a lot for their attention to detail. And even recently, like the shadow on the pen when you like drawing on an iPad. I mean, it's like this is a step beyond what where we are with Meta. And frankly, I think Meta are doing their best now to think that way. And I'm really hopeful and optimistic that their operating system will improve, and over time it will just get as incredible as well. And frankly, sometimes you just need to see some competitors to help push you harder or think in a different way. And I think that probably is true in this case, and I hope it is. But the attention, you don't get any judder, and everything's preloaded, and everything just sort of works, and it's like it's an incredible device. I've watched many movies in it now, and just every time I put it on my head, I'm for either scrolling through contracts or doing, frankly, playing on TikTok, killer feature. That's like, there's TikTok, flick. That is an incredible device. I just want it to be like everybody does, lighter and cheaper.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
I don't like taking it out of the house.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are kind of, for lack of a better word, pissy about the price of the Apple Vision Pro, right? And I get it. It's very expensive for the amount of content that's on there. But what there is some incredible hardware and some incredible innovation in the operating system. And what this does is it pushes everything over to other headsets. So other companies like Meta study that stuff, and they see why, what people are really, really loving about that device. And all of these other companies start to adopt these things and try to come up and improve what they currently have. So it's a wonderful thing. Competition is absolutely critical to make stuff like this better, cheaper, more affordable, and just higher quality. So I'm stoked that the Apple Vision Pro is here, and I'm stoked that Meta and Pico and all of these companies, HTC, are all kind of looking at what Apple's doing and improving their own products.
They have to, I guess. Snow Toad dropping an additional $149 with a beautiful little, hot dog icon. Thank you for that. And PD with another £2. He wants to know what John's thoughts are on the state of the PlayStation VR 2.
Ooh, Resident Evil. Oh my gosh.
Oh, no.
Well, GT7 and Resident Evil, absolutely killer on those devices. If you haven't got PlayStation 2, at this point, I'd probably advise you wait for the Pro if that's coming out in the future. But soon, hopefully.
Hold on. What do you think the chances of that happening are?
What, the PS5 Pro?
No, the PSVR 2 Pro. Is that what you're saying, a headset?
Well, I think it would be a PSVR. It would be a PS5 Pro.
They've brought out Pros before. Of course, they're going to bring out a Pro. It's got to be a mid-cycle update, and I think it's 100%.
Oh, so you're saying if you don't have a PS5 and PlayStation VR combo, is that what you're saying? Not because I feel like some people just have PS5.
Yeah, I'm saying if you've not got a PS5, you probably should hang off slightly, and hopefully a PS5 Pro will be on the horizon. It's probably worth doing that. I mean, I am dreaming of the day that GT7 runs on a higher 90 frame rate. It's just bring it on, and if there's ever a Pro, then that is likely to happen, right? So that would be cool. And
well, let me ask you this.
I'm not writing off PSVR 2. I think it's one of the best devices on the market. We're about to release on it, right? And I'm not expecting it to be this massive money revenue thing or anything. It's such a cool device. I keep them in my office, proof. And, I personally like GT7, but I've played loads of content on the PSVR 2 that frankly is just exceptional and not even available on any of the platforms. So it's yeah,
I guess there's just a lot of people out there who like think that Sony isn't doing enough to support the platform. You know, like they think that like
but
it's just sitting there.
It's not all straightforward. They had, you know, I don't know the whole story, and I can't pretend to be an expert in Sony's history, but you know, the launch wasn't that great. The person that was running that has changed. You know, there's a re-strategization. There's new hardware coming. You know, it's like they're changing to the PC stuff, which probably they've got something. I think I clocked that there's a 90-minute like investor discussion on the future of PlayStation coming in the next sort of 24 hours or whatever. Don't quote me on that, but you know, there's big stuff happening there that perhaps doesn't align to our thoughts as gamers. But I don't think PlayStation are leaving this behind. I just think, you know, it's going through some changes, and but there is an amazing library there. You know, you can't say it's not been supported by people. There is hundreds of games, and a lot of them are absolutely outstanding. Not everyone,
right?
You know, but tell me a store that is. But there's,
some of the very best.
Even recently, Resident Evil 4 as well came out with the new higher thing version, and it's like, you know, oh my god.
Oh my god, man! Some of the best experiences I've ever had in VR have been on the PSVR 2 and only available on the PSVR 2. There are games out there that if it was the only game, like it came on the headset and that's all you could play, I would buy it and I would spend that money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's expensive, right? That headset is still what, $500 or something. It's like, it's really, or more. It's not cheap, and the OLED, you know, compare it to some OLEDs. I mean, the Apple Vision Pro obviously is a good example. The Miura on it is like, you know, it's poor quality compared to what it could be if it just got, you know, it just needs this little bit more, right? And it would be absolutely outstanding. Its OLEDs are brilliant. They just need flat, you know, a wider central point of view. You know, the headset is still a bit bulky, but that's common across everything. You know, I think there's you know, if I could wave a magic wand, there's a PlayStation VR 2 upgrade that's lighter with flat optics, and you know, they sort the OLED out with the Miura, and they have a faster PlayStation that supports 90, and you've got almost a perfect device at that point. It's just looking really, really good. So it's like you know, I don't think Sony would employ me, but if they ever did employ me, I'd be on that strategy and all over it, because I think that it's the price is too high. Fundamentally, it's more expensive than the actual console.
It is, right? And so you can get one. By the way,
how do we get cheap optics? How do we get cheap screens? Because the way we're having to go is micro LED, which is expensive, and flat pancake lens stack, which is expensive, and you have to pump a lot more light through that. Again, I don't consider myself an expert there, but I do understand that. And you know, I'm sure Brad could dig deep and tell us the details on it. But you know, the fact is that there's this perfect piece of hardware, and it's not here today. Truthfully, we don't have this one piece of hardware that's just got all of its component bits right. You could almost Frankenstein all the headsets and get something that's perfect, and nobody's ever really done it. There's always been the promise, but never quite got there. Either there's problems with audio or field of view or comfort or the head strap or the battery. You know, it's like there's always something. And my true dream is that somebody somewhere shows us the perfect headset at some point for an affordable price. And you know, truthfully, I think we're probably still 5 to 10 years away from that. But that's fine. In the meantime, we carry on seeing great games. The headsets are going to get better and better and towards that goal. And you know, and there's a lot to do with personalization, head shapes, eye socket shapes, and optical inserts, and all sorts of other things that are making things better. But you know, we're still a long way off, I think.
Yeah. One thing I want to just like acknowledge really quick, Hussein X said he's had loads of midstream ads, some of them unskippable. YouTube must be looking to grow more income. We'll look into that, because I don't want ads rolling in the middle of a live show. You know, like,
I think we can go in and configure when they run. I just haven't.
Yeah, we're gonna fix that.
So my apologies. We can have it so it's only at the beginning of the end or something. I know you can do that. I'm just. Oh man!
We're gonna.
If you'd like to buy one of the Battle Between Realities T-shirts today, they come in 4 different sizes: small, medium, extra large, and extra large.
They go all the way up to 5X.
Sponsored by T-shirts or us.
That's right. Thank you for that, Hibbins.
Links in the description below.
Links in the description, indeed. Yeah, we'll get rid of those midstream ads. I don't want that happening. So thanks for calling that out, Hussein X.
It's probably more interesting than listening to me bang on about.
No way.
Doing the show, we don't get interrupted for ads. So can you imagine?
Right. Yeah,
we're talking and then all of a sudden.
Well, and also both of us are YouTube Premium subscribers. So
True.
I don't see ads ever.
True. Too. It's one of the best things I've ever done.
Oh, 100%.
I actually watch a lot of content now on PlayStation, on YouTube, because I'm a premium subscriber. Honestly, if I ever see a non-premium version, I just can't deal with it. If I go to an Airbnb and watch YouTube on the head thing and it's not premium, I'm just like, oh my gosh, how do people do this?
I know. I feel you.
Just subscribe to premium, and I think it's better for content creators as well, frankly, because you don't get the interruption, and you are quote me if I'm right here, you get paid for the premium part of the pin.
Yeah, well, if an ad would have run and there was a premium subscriber, we still get that revenue.
Yeah,
but it's a different rate as well, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. And for the record, y'all, we're not really making a whole lot of money off of ads. Okay,
I've been in your fancy red car with the wings on it.
In GT7. Yeah. Okay, so
GT7's better in VR because it has VR mode.
Well,
the 2D screen side doesn't have that.
Holy crap!
Okay.
There you go.
That thing where you can go into the cars and you can actually look at the steering wheels in high res.
Well, I'm gonna to use a car pun. We're gonna shift it into high gear here because this time is evaporating. We're probably gonna go a little bit over our normal time, but I want to get into this a little bit with you, John, before we end the show. You're talking about 10 years from now, headsets being lighter, more comfortable, easier to use, all that stuff. I think we can all kind of see where VR is going to be in 5 to 10 years, and we can imagine what the headsets will potentially look like. But where do you think we're going with this, for reals? Because this is going to happen for more than 5 or 10 years, eventually, we're going to end up shifting into something, whether that's brain computer interfacing or contact lenses or maybe that's, maybe those, contact lenses first and then brain computer interfacing. But what are we actually building here? Because for me, this is some pretty trippy stuff, we're recreating reality and feeding it to people. It's like lucid dreaming, but using a tool to accomplish it, and as we continue to improve on that experience, we're going to in my opinion, continue to kind of blur the lines between what's real and what's not real. And that's why for me, VR is a philosophical discussion. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts about where we're actually going with all this stuff? What's the potential of virtual reality?
5 years from now, should we start there?
Sure.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Well, I reckon Grand Theft Auto Andreas will be out on the Quest 3.
Yeah. Well, don't hold your breath.
Eating into 2D gaming, right? So there'll be more and more norm to do VR modes or VR complete games of, we're already seeing that, right? But it will just become more and more normal. It will actually, at some point, I've always predicted that will tip over. It'll be more than 50% of stuff actually has VR support in it in some way. Probably done that in terms of emulation and stuff now, but in terms of all the statistics, retention, software support, time spent, full stop, amount of people with headsets on Steam at any one point, etc., etc. So I do feel that's been 50% every year increasing, and it's hard to refute that. And there's been ups and downs with retention and stuff, but retention's getting really strong, and there's some good signs actually. Younger people don't feel the same as those that have adopted late. They've been now born with VR in their life cycle, and they're getting into the into the more serious gaming, and we're starting to see that actually grow. So at the bottom end, 7 to 12 age range, where they start to get their food in Roblox and and Rec Room and Gorilla Tag, they eventually grow out of that and into more serious gaming, which is normal, and that's starting to bolster the top end and the serious gaming. So it's very easy to say all that, but longer term, just augmentation. I think, frankly, it will be very unusual, I think, in 20 years time even, that people won't have augmentations. That sounds really scary when I say that, but you're seeing really good early examples of that, like the guy that what's the brain interfacing that Elon's company does, whatever that's called.
Neuralink, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing games, and that's quite inspirational, and wasn't able to even use a mouse before, right? And so I think that, you know, perhaps non-invasive to start with, but then there'll be more technology there. I don't know. I'm just convinced. I'm convinced that sometimes things are already on a path, and we're already in simulation. There's lots of weird reasons I feel that way. I watch lots of things on, like, you know, the Fermi paradox.
The Fermi paradox.
Why aren't they here? And you know, there's lots of like S-tier examples of like what probably is the most likely outcome, and like up there's only really two. First of all, we're alone, and the second is we're in a simulation, that really stick out to me as being the S tier. I don't know, what do you think?
First of all, $9.99 from Bluebell. Came really late, but I like your guest. Love you guys too. Bluebell, we love you.
Hi, Bluebell.
Thanks, Bluebell.
I've got to say, anybody that's sending cash in, I don't, you know, I have to say, first of all, it's very inspirational. It's a wonderful thing to do for people that put their time and effort. What you don't see is these guys have to set up meetings with you. They have to schedule stuff. They have to connect us all together. They have to set up before the show for 15 minutes. It's like there's a lot of work that goes into running podcasts, and every penny helps them with the equipment that they have to buy that's expensive, but also, you know, fundamentally on a very low level, it's validating to be supported. And you know, please keep doing it for these guys. They're one of the rising, you know, podcast period, and they've been amazing in terms of history as well. But you know, they are wonderful people, and they frankly deserve it. That's reminding me.
I'm going to cry.
Oh, thank you,
man.
I have no idea how to give you money, but
no, just listen. If you could just like call me every day and leave me a voicemail like that, like I don't need anything.
It makes a really big difference as well. I know it's hard for you to talk about this, but you know, I know it must make a huge difference, because you know, if equipment dies, and you're paying for things out of your own pocket, it's really hard sometimes to get out of bed and like do this stuff, right? It's like. And I know people need breaks, right? It's hard. I know you do. You're on the other show with GT, aren't you?
The Crewcast. Yep. It's on ice right now, but yeah.
Yeah, it's on ice because you know, frankly, it takes time. It takes time out of your life, and it takes time to organise, and you know, and sometimes you need a break from these things. So, you know, I appreciate what you do, and what you do for the industry is above and beyond what you know, I could even imagine to do. Frankly, it's inspirational.
Oh man, thank you, John. You're the best.
All right, I guess we'll keep doing this. Nice. I guess we'll keep doing it.
No, it's probably time to stop now. I didn't want to give you the wrong impression. No, you know, in terms of future, I am really very, very excited about short-term future, but the next 3 years is going to be an incredible transformation. AI is changing everything. I don't know whether you've had a chance to change with GPT-O, but it's like speaking to the movie Her. Right? It's like freaky. I was like having whole conversations with this lady, and it was answering me, and you know, actually being quite coherent. And that's before GPT-5. You know, it's like this stuff is getting pretty incredible, and the combination of that much knowledge, and I think we're on the verge of artificial general intelligence, AGI, but also artificial singularity intelligence as well. And you know, I think we're on the verge of that, and I think it's going to shock people when it suddenly appears, and perhaps scare a lot of people as well. But we really are starting to answer difficult problems that have been impossible to answer. The IQ of these things, apart from general machine learning knowledge of everything in its head, you know, it can literally look up all the data and all the papers on it straight away and get coherent answers. And yeah, it's not perfect, but it's consistently getting better. All these AI things can pass exams that, you know, frankly, I couldn't dream of passing. And when you put all that knowledge inside an AGI, and then you know, start to address problems we've got, simple ones even, right, like diagnosing you know, illnesses, which is commonly needed and wanted to do, and then we get personalized doctor treatments in AI agents, and you know, the world is changing rapidly, and I'm much more on the side of it's funny because I did have a discussion about the Waymos, right, and with somebody that says, no, I'm never going to get into one of those auto driving cars, and I'm privileged enough to own a Tesla, and I've done thousands of miles in auto driving, and I trust the car impeccably. In fact, it's steered around problems, and it's like it's seen things before I've seen them, because it's got more eyes and more cameras, right? And I've had one for maybe 4 years now, and I would trust it. And as a programmer, I can promise you it's hard to trust things, right? It's like you don't want to trust code, but this stuff's really getting very trustable and
more trustworthy than people. People do stupid stuff, man.
They do.
I would be very happy to have it. As soon as one gets to be as good as a doctor that's passed the highest levels and had 5 years of experience, I'd probably prefer the personalization and the consistency in that. And if I can give it scans and blood and it can go off and analyze all of that and come back and help me through processes, I would rather trust that. And it's coming really fast, and it's perhaps happening stealthily right now behind the scenes anyway. There are trials and tests, and but I'm really excited about what that's going to do for the world. I'm excited about change. I've always been excited about change. I've been an early adopter in VR, but I've been an early adopter in iPods and early phones. I had a ridiculous phone bill on the internet. As soon as the internet appeared, I had a 1200k modem sat on that and a £300 bill a month. I could barely afford to eat and I'd pay for the internet, but somehow we managed to scrape through that world. If you go back in history, I've done all sorts of crazy things on the internet as well. But
haven't we all?
I'm very excited. The next 10 years is not going to look like the last 10 years. In fact, this last, we're very privileged to be growing up in this time.
Yeah, we are.
There's been more done in the last 60 years than there's been done in the last 1,000. It's like we're really accelerating.
100%.
And it's crazy, really.
So
but it's only going to get faster.
I kind of want to unpack the simulation thing a little bit more, because I'm curious more on your perspective, because you, before the show and on it, you have confidently said now you're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure we're living in a simulation, but I'm wondering what are the implications of that? And is it relevant? Would it be relevant information to figure out that we are or are not living in simulation? And if so, what would be the implications of that truth? Are we all wearing a headset and we're actually somewhere else, like the Matrix, or are we programmed? I'm curious as to what your actual perspective is on that.
I study this stuff quite a lot. In quantum theory is really interesting to me. So I spend a lot of time studying quantum theory and understanding, the implications of that and how it seams the universe together. And can we get faster than light through the same sort of technology? And there's proven technologies that say, yeah, we can. And we're really close to harnessing some of those things and actually making them actively useful in quantum computing, but also quantum entanglement and stretching that, it won't be that long into the future. The main difficulty is maintaining the distance between them and getting them at ice cool at both ends and stuff. But, I can see us getting through those technologies, and AI is just helping us with that, right? So, if there is a God, it's currently quantum waves through the universe, right? So it's how can we explain that? It's very difficult to argue against quantum theory, I think. And it's very, very being an underlying code that runs the universe. And yeah, I struggle to find arguments that it's not a preset set of rules like DNA is to build humans and replicate. It's I find it very, very difficult. But it's all a bit mad, right? Because if it's not that, is it just random? Well, that's fine as well. I don't mind random, but random for what? It's it doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah, well, it's almost they say that if you put a bunch of monkeys on typewriters, that eventually they would literally give you the complete works of Shakespeare, the randomness of the
over infinite time.
Over infinite time, right? So,
you need monkeys to do that, right? So, I mean, it was the most interesting thing this is definitely a split thought process here, but the most interesting thing I had about that earlier is that static storms created the initial CO2 capability from volcanic activity on early planets, right? And because CO2 was randomly generated out of high intensity plasma storms, that then causes life, because suddenly you've got the combinations of cells that can make life. And yeah, I get all that. It's all really interesting. But if you look deeper than that, what causes the static storms? Why do quantum theory is really interesting. The whole universe being flat is interesting thought as well. With when you look at the the theories that Albert Einstein did about having, you know, large points of gravity bending quantum space, and it's like, I just find it really interesting. It's almost so interesting if you were going to program an AGI engine with a bunch of pre-seeded code to run the universe, you'd probably create that. So that's why I'm really interested in it. And yeah, I really struggled to think. Yeah, I've deeply thought about this, and I've listened to a lot. Really interested in it. Yeah, I struggle to argue against it. I sound like a mad fool when I'm doing that, but you know, it's like,
dude,
it's
we're
like
all mad.
Also, I'm trying to rationalize a lot of what's happening, and I can't always rationalize it. And at that point, I like, okay, well, that's plausible, and it is plausible. I mean, there's other plausible solutions as well. It could just be random, and we're the only people that manage to appear. I find that highly improbable, but you know, could be.
Yeah. I mean, why do you think it is I would even bring that up on a VR podcast? You know, like, because for me, there's a, like, the R in VR is relevant, you know? Like, I feel like it really is a, like, I don't know, like, we're, like, scratching at the surface of a lot of this stuff. And I can't help but wonder if, like, through technological advancement, we will actually figure out, like, some of the nature of reality.
If you take it to the nth degree of where we are and going, then is it plausible that we could wire your brain and control your brain and make you see, hear, taste anything you think you can currently see, hear, and taste? Well, of course, it's just optic nerves going into your brains. It's just you know, the Matrix. You know, put yourself in a machine, plug something into your spine, and control all of these things. You could be anywhere. You could be lucid, like you say. You could be lucid dreaming, or you could be in a universe of anybody's planning. Will the technology get fast enough to be able to do those things? Absolutely. You know, it starts with a basic headset, but at some point you'll get direct nerve input. Now, it's really deep and complex thought. Number 3 on the S tier, though, is that we all kill ourselves eventually, which is also equally scary and pliable. It's like, you know, humans or animal or aliens or whatever, you know, eventually you just get to a technological point where you just end up dying. You know, you never go into planetary beyond your own universe. You know, the universe implodes at a certain point, or you explode it, or it's nuclear war, or it's like, you know, you heat up the Earth and it's no longer here, and there's no other planet you can spread to. I mean, that's plausible as well in the scopes of billions of years. It's plausible that yeah, we're not necessarily alone, but we don't ever, you know, populate the universe, right? It's like, because otherwise it probably would be populated by now, right? It would have spread, or at least we could be early enough that that's not the case, but we are talking about 14 billion years. It's not a small amount of time. And frankly, if you look at the acceleration we've done in the last 100, it's not hard to imagine that we're going to accelerate into something. I don't think it hits a dead end. I think, if anything, it's... I really like watching the SpaceX launches and stuff and seeing us attempt to go multiplanetary, and I think it's amazing that some people... I'm not the biggest fan of Elon Musk, but for many ways, and he's worsening his perspective on the universe by the minute, I think. But the fact is, it is inspirational that the people with resource are making all efforts to do amazing things. And you know, I still find it unbelievable that a rocket can land vertically, but here we are today with it happening hundreds of times and no problem.
Right. I am like, I don't know, maybe I don't think I'm naive, but it's possible I am naive in my optimism, but I am just like eternally optimistic. Like, I really do think that like we are on the path to good. You know what I mean? Like, I think we're going to figure things out. Like, there's a lot of like doom and gloom and like a lot of things to worry about, and a lot of like Black Mirror perspectives that people, you know, are carrying into like conversations like this one, which I think are very important. It's incredibly important to have those perspectives so we build an ethical future. But I really do think we're going to figure it out. Like, I think people are good. You know, we'll never avoid the evil or the darkness in the world. It'll always exist in some way, but I think we're going to figure it out, man.
We can die on our deathbeds with the most beautiful beach projected in front of us, feeling the warm sand on us. You know, it's like we really can, you know, be in a future that's amazing, right? And we're already there. Yeah, it's just phenomenal opportunity, and like yourself, I'm very optimistic. I want to solve horrible problems. I mean, I can't stand wars for various reasons, you know. I mean, I'm sure everybody feels the same there, but there shouldn't be war. There shouldn't be walls. We're all humans. I'm a very much a universal citizen, and I'm very optimistic that the future is bright. I've always felt that way, and still do today. It's an amazing world we're living in, frankly, and with amazing people that love VR and love technology. And yeah, I think technology can be used for bad, but I think overwhelmingly it's been used for good. You know, that I was thinking how privileged we are in terms of basic things now. You know, I mean, we don't necessarily worry too much about eating tonight. I'm sure we'll have all had a healthy meal, but you know, it wasn't long ago, and it really wasn't long ago, that if you had a shower in your house, it would have been incredibly unusual. You know, 50 years ago, it was like, you know, you wouldn't have had a shower in your house. There's no way. Right. Like everybody had baths. And, you know, go 20 years earlier, you know, you'd be going to the toilet in the garden somewhere, right? It's like...
and in the long scheme of things, that was yesterday. Like, that was yesterday.
Yeah.
Skiva, what do you think, man?
Oh, man. Well, I think there has always, since the very beginning, been doom and gloom on every single piece of technology that has come our way. Everything from, you know, from all the way back since fire, all the way from TVs to internet to cars to everything. There are people that say, that's going to kill us, that's going to be the end of us. But what's really happening here is over the course of these millions of years, where there has been so long with no technological advancement, and then it gets shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter, and now we're at this hockey stick curve where it's going so fast we can barely even like blink now without some kind of crazy advancement happening. Like we are evolving. We're evolving fast. This is, in my mind, this isn't technology, just technology, I should say. This is evolution. This is a path to what we will become. And we're going to get there, like it or not. There's a lot of people kicking and screaming, but it's happening no matter what.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because it's happening.
It's happening.
It is naturally occurring.
VR, XR, AI, you know, artificial intelligence, artificial general intelligence, artificial superintelligence. It is happening. We are, and unless a nuke goes off, unless we do something drastic to stop the human race from evolving, it's going to happen. If you can imagine humanity after another couple thousand years, even, you're not going to be able to even understand what we are if you were to look at us, right? Like, I would love to freeze myself and wake up every 100 years to see what happened. But eventually, I feel like I would wake up and everyone would be gone, but we would all still be there. But I just wouldn't be able to understand, because all I understand is now, in the past. But man, we're just getting to a place.
My favorite example there is in Back to the Future, when he predicts the weather to the minute, and now, you know, you can pick up your phone and just look where your local weather's going to be in your perception in the next hour, right? It's like there's really, you know, almost everything in the Star Trek, apart from perhaps teleporting, has started to become real as well. And it's like, you know, this just really, really good examples of us visioning what we want to do and making it happen, right? It's like if you paint a picture of like, we need this as a society. And I find that, you know, AR and XR is an interesting augmentation to the universe that, you know, is very much needed for various reasons. Yeah, I'm just really, really optimistic. I want to see a world where this isn't everybody's perspective, and I've definitely had discussions where they say, are you mad? But I want to see a world where the robots help us, and, you know, we don't have to work, and we can just do what we love, and, you know, you can travel, and you can be with people, and you can just enjoy life, and, you know, you're healthy because everything's done in the right way, and, you know, you find problems early, and people don't have to go through horrific things like cancer and various other, you know, frankly, you know, life destroying things that happen through the world. Like, you know, I would bring on all of that. I would have, again, very controversial, but I would give full surveillance over murderers and phone stealers, and, you know, and not everybody feels that way, but I'm very, you know, I think technology can be used to really help us as a world. And stop some of the, you know, smaller things, but also the major things. You know, why are there so many, you know, evil people that are going to war with different nations? Right, this shouldn't be happening. So yeah, that's difficult.
Yeah,
I can't pretend I've got the answers. I think technology can really help all of that, and not by creating more wars. Sorry, Palmer. I love you, and I was there there with you at the start. But it's like I don't think this is about defending borders. It's about getting to the root of the problem and stopping the core issues.
Well, I do think that if we can make it
extremely down at the end of the meeting,
I think if we can make it another decade, I think we will see a lot of the things that you're saying. I think it's inevitable. I think that,
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope there's less division and less polarization, and the world just becomes much more about love and joy and happiness, which is right back to the start of all this. VR brings people together. It's an amazing community, and it's an opportunity to make its own changes in the world and just be a bright and happy place. And yeah, I love that about it. I love that about the sociality of it too.
Heck yeah.
You are the man. And that's it. That sometimes I ask for closing thoughts and stuff, but no, I'm like, that was, I feel like that's a mic drop moment, like we're there. Like this is Between Realities, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Yep,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean? Thanks for coming on and giving us a legitimate episode of Between Realities, where we got to get weird for a little while at the end of the episode, and it was just too good to end at the 90-minute mark, so we just kept pushing. You know what I mean? So, thank you so much, man, for rolling with the punches, for coming onto the show, and we hit you up, and we just appreciate you, man. Thanks for your perspective.
I love you guys. I can't wait to see you at the next event that we bump into each other randomly at some random bar somewhere. But it's been a pleasure to be here, honestly. And and if anybody ever wants to talk VR, please just reach out. I always want to talk about it.
He's not lying. He's not lying, people. If you haven't figured it out by now, John's the real deal, and we are all lucky to have you in the VR community, man. So please keep doing what you're doing, and please hit us up when you can share some stuff about your next project, because we want to.
Yeah, well, I can't wait for that day. Honestly, it's I can't wait. But not today, sadly.
Not today. All right, man. Well, everybody, please join us in saying goodbye to Jon Hibbins. Thank you so much, man, from Psytec Games, CEO, game designer, just overall VR OG and badass. Thanks again, man, and we'll see you next time, hopefully soon.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye, John.
And boom, he's gone, and
there he goes.
Never to be seen again.
There he goes. What an amazing dude. He's just... Sometimes you just find those people out there, and you're like, man... we're this close to being brothers. You know what I mean? And that's John. He's such an amazing guy, doing great things in our field, and just has that brain that I really enjoy.
I actually love meeting up with him at events too, because John has a drier sense of humor than me. So every time I get in there with him, I feel like I'm getting into the ring, I'm like, all right, let's go. And we're it's don't smile, because he's not going to smile while he's cracking this joke.
Yeah,
on you.
That's true.
So anyway, lots of good memories and more to come. Thank you all for joining us for this amazing episode of Between Realities. We've had an amazing live audience here with us on YouTube, Les Marwick and Frananwall, and looks like Firewall, but it's not. I want to say
how to pronounce that.
I'm going to say Firewall until you fix that. I don't know what else to say.
Fragwell?
Or you can tell me.
Fragwell, maybe?
Oh, Fragwell. That's exactly what it is. You're so smart. You are so smart. Eric Hartley and Shapeshifter and Snowtoad Arcanian, thank you for that super chat, dude. We appreciate you. Hussein X and Amelia Faust and Clickster's been up in here. Silver Nexus and MickeyBerr, Duggars K, Paradise Decay, Red/A's. What's up, dude? Jin 007, A License to Chill. Thank you for being here and being in the chat. Rudel Zavedno, of course. Virtual Strangers. Wes got up in here. Octavia got up in here. Game on Scorpio was up in here. Dude, it's been a good one. Bluebell, Snowtoad, Farmer True. All of y'all.
Man. What a great crowd of people.
Yeah.
We're so happy that you come and join us every week. It really makes it just makes all of this worth it. It really, really does. So thank you guys.
Yep. Mindjive, who is always at the tail end of these things. Mindjive, from now on, when you see the screen go up, start getting stuff in there, because I don't want to cut you off at the end of these. Beat Saber Rita, thank you so much for watching today. Kent State Gaming, thanks again for being here, and congratulations again on your amazing wedding. Skiva, what are we doing next week?
Next week, And I feel like this season take us with a grain of salt because we keep saying we're having these people on, and sometimes things happen.
This may not happen.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I think it will.
Okay.
But
I will see. I know Nick Mitchell, who is our next guest, is over in, I believe he lives in China, correct?
Yes.
So yeah, we'll make sure we do our best to make next week's happen. But either way, we'll be back with someone amazing. Hopefully, it'll be Nick.
If it is Nick, he's the real deal. He has a company called FXG, I believe it's called, and it's he has like a VR production company, VR production studio. He does an in VR podcast that you can watch like in stereoscopic 180 or whatever, and he's been in the industry for so long. Like he really is like another VR OG. So if you are unfamiliar with Nick, this would be a great episode to tune into because the guy has done a lot in the space over the past, however long, forever.
Heck yeah.
But we might end up having somebody else because we need to hammer out whether or not he can make it for the live show. So anyway, but we're gonna be here no matter what.
Heck yeah, we are.
Okay, next Friday we're here no matter what. Even if we can't find anybody to join us, we'll go without. Okay, because we've had some people like tell us to do shows without guests, and like I'm not like super into the idea, but I am willing to like have an experiment or two. Like maybe try it.
I mean, and we do it at the beginning of every season. But look, our show there are shows that are about nothing but talking about VR. But here's the thing. We want to highlight and bring the people that are creating this technology that we love. We want to bring them in front of people and really kind of like document this process in the beginning of this industry. So it's really important to us.
Assassin 32 VR says he's available next Friday. If everything falls through, Assassin 32, get ready to do the audible play. All right, we'll pull you in.
All right, nice.
Otherwise, thanks again for listening. Shout out to Upload VR. Shout out to Audible. Anything else before we
Audible?
Anything else before we wrap up?
I think that's it, man.
All right, cool. Well, thanks again for being here, everyone. We love you all very dearly. Shout out to Jon Hibbins from Psytec Games. Thanks again to our guest, and we will see you all next week. Maybe with Nick Mitchell, maybe with somebody else awesome, maybe Assassin 32. Who knows? But have a great weekend. Join our Discord. Oh, vote for us in the AUGGIEs. Click that link as well. Okay, that's that. That's your homework, people. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.